What got me into trouble with alcohol? I like the taste of it. I know it sounds a bit strange, that, but I ended up drinking very fast. I never really set out to get drunk. I was very rarely drunk, as in incapacitated or even out of control. I don't know where I got the tolerance from, to be honest. Because when I look back, I'll take you through a couple of things here. When I was about 14, I used to drink my dad's homebrewed lager. And it was in remember the old big glass bottles of lemonade you used to get? I'm going back a lot of years now. And he used to make this beer. He wasn't alcoholic, he just drank socially. We had some friends who drank probably a bit more than my parents did, really, to be honest with you. And my dad was a policeman, he worked shifts, and the people he knew were shift workers as well, and nurses and that sort of thing, and the other coppers. And he had this wash house place, or a big police house, and there was gallons of this stuff in bottles all over the place. And when they used to go on holiday, I didn't bother going on holiday. They took my sister away, so I thought I'll just stay. And I used to experiment with these bottles. I think, God, it's really good taste, that. And a couple of lads came down. I used to come down when I was 15, 16. I played in the band, and we'd have a bit of dabble of this home brew. And I noticed that I really liked the taste, and I really liked the effect of it, And I used to see the guys sort of wobble off home a little bit unsteady, and I was all right. And I used to sort of go to the pub after that when I was about 16. But I always used to find myself drinking faster than everybody else. And it wasn't a need to get drunk, I just seemed to have this capacity to throw them down my neck. I don't know what I was trying to achieve, because I never wanted to be drunk. I'd seen drunk people. I knew what the score was when I was a young lad. I grew up in the Northeast. I'd seen a few fights and, life in the row, really, even as a teenager. But this was a habit of mine, to get a pint and even get two within the space of other people drinking one. So I started work when I was about 16. I did a college type thing with an engineering job. The guys in the factory used to work long hours. They used to drink a lot. I wasn't in the factory, I was in the office, but I used to go and join them. They were quite big drinkers. And then later on, when I was about 20s, I joined the police. Now, as I said, I was still a big drinker, but I was still very fit. And I met some people when I was in the police who were obviously older, bigger, stronger maybe than me, and they were big drinkers as well. But I still used to drink quicker. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? And I would always be the one who, at the end of the night, they'd be sort of slurring the speech a little bit, a bit tired, but had enough to drink. And I was getting faster. I used to get a lot of energy from drinking. It sounds a bit odd, that, but that's just the way I was. I remember I got promoted in my 20s. I was a young sergeant in the West End. And then I had a bit of a history of drinking. A couple of lads came up to me one night and said, "Oh, we could drink you under the table, Sergeant." I said, "Oh, could you really? Two big lads. I mean, I'm 6 foot odd. They were like bigger than me. More established people, you know what I'm saying?" And I knew a pub quite well called the Red Lion in Kingley Street, which is just off Regent Street. We used to serve this Eingerbrau, which is a German lager, and Eingerbrau Pils, which at the time was about 6%, because beers in those days weren't really that strong. So I said, right, okay, we're on an 8 till 4 shift tomorrow, so we'll meet you in the pub at 4 o'clock. And I went to the Red Lion, and they were there, already had a pint. So I ordered 2 pills. I said, "What are you drinking?" "Oh, we're drinking the ordinary Eingerbrau." I said, "No, get yourself on the pills." Between 4 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was used to these pills, because I knew the manager in that pub, he was from the Northeast. And I remember we were, I think, in the 8 till 4 next day, or 10 till 6, something like that. It was a royalty visit. There's 2 of them. I just call them Bob 1 and Bob 2. And Bob 1 was nicknamed the Beast. He was a massive guy. So I got them on these pills. 6 o'clock came, 7 o'clock came, 7:30 came and went. And Bob 1 was starting to look a bit under the weather, she was saying. He fell out of his stool. And he's really, really drunk, really pissed. And he sort of wandered off home. I thought he'd only been here a couple of hours now. I was just still on my stride. And the other bloke said, "God, you you can handle your booze, can't you? We stayed about another hour, and this other bloke said, I'm going to go home now. He'd had enough as well. So I had one more pint, then I got in the underground. I walked up towards Oxford Circus Underground, went back over and had a couple more cans. Anyway, the next day, I went down to the Cafe Royal, bottom Regent Street, where there was a royalty visit, and we were just standing at the door. That was our duty anyway. And I walked down, and there was only one of them there. There should have been two of them there for 10 o'clock. So I noticed that this guy on the door, Bob 2, as it were, it was summertime, shirt sleeve order, short sleeve shirts and open necks, and he had this raincoat buttoned right up to here, yeah, and it wasn't raining. And I said, where's the other lad? He said, oh, he didn't make it. He's taking the days annual leave or gone sick or something. I said, oh, he must have been in the state then. And he said, oh, you're looking fresh. I said, oh, I'm fine, I'm used to it, And I said, why have you got your coat buttoned up like that? Right? Because you should just have an open neck. He said, I forgot my shirt. So out of the two of them, one didn't turn up and the other one had forgotten his uniform. Well, part of his uniform. And I thought, my God, I must have a hell of a tolerance to drink. And from that day on, I became known as a very heavy drinker. Or, like, he's the man to follow. It was a bit of a badge of honour, and looking back, it was stupidity, really. I must have built this high tolerance up. But the fast drinking continued. So when we went out as a group, we used to put 20, 30, 40, 50 quid in a whip, And I would always be in the whip having another pint, even with some very fast drinkers. And that was my problem, I think. I was drinking so fast, I didn't realise how much I was drinking because it didn't have that much of an effect. So when people were getting tired, ready to go home, maybe not feeling too well, I was like still bang on 70 miles an hour in the fast lane. And I think that took its toll on me, definitely with my liver. Even though I never touched wines or spirits, just the sheer volume, the fact that I was a regular drinker made a difference. So when people would go off for 2 or 3, I would have 4 or 6, if that makes sense, purely because of the speed I drank. So I could never go out early. People who said, if I need to drink, I'll meet at 7 o'clock. I never went out at 7 o'clock, I used to go about 9. But even by 11 o'clock, I still drank nearly double what they drank all night. It's not clever, it's not nothing to be proud of. But I'm sure that's why I had so many problems later in life. I got addicted to it very quickly. And then I had all the problems with anxiety and withdrawals and then, the mental health issues with the anxiety, building up all the time. And then physical issues after that. I had a few relapses, went back on it. Because I sort of thought, I'm going to go back to the glory days, which you can't do. You've got to keep off it. You've got to grow out of this thing. If you find yourself drinking faster than other people, have a look around, be aware. I mean, not everyone's going to get to the point I did, which was extremely ill, but you'll feel yourself a little bit not fitting in the crowd, a little bit different. And you're drinking fast because maybe you want the buzz again, I don't know what it is, but with me, I never went out purely to get drunk. I went out because I liked the feeling, I liked the taste of it, I liked the social aspect, I liked the pubs in London. And I'm sure my advice to you anyway would be to cut down, as in slow down, go out later maybe, that sort of thing. If you are sober, if you're lucky enough to be sober, then do not try it again, because just that one sip of alcohol can take you straight back into a whole world of trouble, and you certainly don't want to be there. I hope you enjoy the videos or you benefit from them anyway. Please share the channel and like and subscribe. I do one-to-ones. If you want any help, if you've got any problems with the alcohol, drop me a line. I'll get back to you, and look after yourself. I'll speak to you soon.